Making a living was not easy. For some, it was hard and a constant struggle. Most people spent nearly all their time trying to support themselves. During the week, everyone worked, from early morning until late at night. This one in a workshop or a factory, someone else in a store or at a trade.
Some people had money, some people had good trades. If they had work, they had money. If there was no work, there was no work altogether. It was difficult. We didn't pay taxes, but you had to work for the town. They built a little bridge, you had to help. They built a sidewalk, you had to help. If they make a street, you had to help.
My father was a master mechanic. He was an inventor. At the age of 12, he opened up a machine shop. He got all kinds of motors and machines. It was the largest works in the entire region.
My father was a middle class. Of course, he was working in the factory that make the spear, the vodka, and he was good paid. This was a big factory, a huge factory for living standard.
We had the store, and the front was the store with selling shoes. It's all handmade. And in the back, workers were working.
At that time, you couldn't buy anything ready-made. So they used to take in a dressmaker to the house for 2 weeks. And even the underwear had to be made.
The woman that used to come to sew for us in the house before a holiday, always, any holiday, she used to come in. She used to have pictures to show me how this dress will look, approximately, not exactly. So I was pointing, oh, this I would like to have. So she tried to make the same. My father wore regular suits that they wear now, all of it. My mother was a modern woman with the beautiful big hats and with the muffs and with everything.
We didn't know whether we were poor or rich. Everybody was in the same class. There were a few very wealthy families in town, so we knew that was separate and apart. But most people were in the same class. We wore the same clothes and we went to the same places, and we bought in the same things. So, like I once said to somebody, I could have been poor, but I didn't know it.
Education was important. Parents, no matter how poor, felt it their duty, a duty of the heart, to see their children learn Torah. When a boy reached the age of 3, he was sent with great joy to the cheder, to the nearest teacher for small children.
When I grew up, I went to a cheder. Cheder is a Jewish school where they teach you Hebrew and Yiddish. And as far as I remember, as far back as I can remember, since the age of 2 or 3, we went to a cheder and we started Yiddish and Hebrew.
There were quite a large number of teachers for the little children, boys only, perhaps 3 to 5 on every street. They made a meager living, and their work was backbreaking from morning until late at night.
The teachers were no-nonsense teachers. You just spoke up when you shouldn't have, or conversed with your friend, and the slap in the face would come immediately because that was the custom.
For those children who could not afford a private teacher, the community supported a Talmud Torah, the official Jewish school, where the poorest children and orphans studied. Only Jewish subjects were taught in the Talmud Torah. Secular studies were taught in the public school, where Jewish and Christian boys and girls shared the classroom.
Yiddish. Our language was Yiddish. We went to the Polish school, if we spoke Yiddish, but we would see a teacher or somebody, we would speak in Polish.
Well, it's a little story maybe I'll tell you. I remember if they want to punish something, they used to usually hit on the lap with a ruler or put you in the corner. But for a boy, it was the worst thing. The boys used to sit separate and the girls separate. So if you want to punish you, if you were a bad boy, they put you near a girl. But you were more punishment that set you between 2 girls was the worst punishment.
In the public school, the Jewish students felt the sting of anti-Semitism.
I had once anti-Semitism. They let me down in the school. The 2 Christian boys told me, and they tried to rub my mouth with pork. And I was crying because we're not allowed to eat pork, yelling and screaming in pork. Otherwise, it was the same guys that were my friends.
Many a times I had the principal coming into the classroom and yelling at us, "Dirty Jew, go to Palestine." That was the principal, I want you to know. So we had a bad feeling. And you felt that Jew, dirty Jew all the time. You know, my brothers many a times came home beaten up and all that. There was no question, anti-Semitism was everywhere.
Whenever you would go, you would say, "Zhit." They would throw a rock at you, a stone, or hit you with a stick. I remember it. Even now, it's a long time after. Zhit.
One day, the teacher said, we go to a church. And I was afraid. I didn't know what to do. I was afraid for my parents. If I go, I'll have problem. And I was afraid to the teacher. Well, I am not going. They didn't understand. But I went. Till this day, I haven't told my parents.
I don't ever remember going into a church or even getting close to a church. A cross was very frightening. A cross, I think, represented violence as far as the Jews are concerned. So I guess we got that from our parents, and we as children also experienced the fear of the crucifix.